All right, you guys. It's me, Conswello from the Freedman Channel, and we're doing a little bit more of Let's Talk Politics, American Freedmen. Yesterday, we held a space with our activist and advocate, Mark King Carter. That was something new for us, and we'll be doing a lot more of that because we definitely want to hear what the people have to say on some of these topics that we are presenting on the Freedman Channel. But today I'm bringing you an interview with New Jersey's Democratic Congressional candidate, Mike Anderson. Again, you all, I work across the aisle. I'm about policy over party. So with that, no one can say that I'm biased as well. So we're going to bring him in so you all can actually hear what he has to say and learn more about his platform and his campaign as he moves forward. And we're running for the New Jersey Democratic Congressional candidate for the House. And so I'm going to bring him to the stage. I'll bring him in. Hello, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Good afternoon. Thank
Why
you
don't
so
you tell
much.
us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on the platform. I appreciate what you're doing to advance the cause of generational, foundational, indigenous people of the melanin that we share in common. And I think that I'm really honored to be on somebody's platform that's carrying the torch of Dr. Claude Anderson, and people that I respect that have advocated for generations about the debt that we're owed and the solutions that we need to enact at a federal level. I mean, as well as within our community and at the state and local level, and mentally, first and foremost, to understand who we are. So, thank you for the education that you're doing in terms of the American freedmen. And I look forward to being a part of the movement in a way that yields the results that we're truly owed, quite frankly. So
Okay. Well,
I
thank you
am
for that.
running.
Go ahead.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I am running to replace a retiring congresswoman from Central Jersey by the name of Bonnie Watson Coleman. She recently turned 80 and decided that she would not be running. I'm running in a very Democratic district, and I grew up in a very Democratic household and community. I am not embraced by the traffickers of the black vote within the Democratic establishment. So let's be very, very clear. The narrative that I espouse requires accountability, freedom, and sovereignty. And I think everyone understands that our people, in particular, when I say our people, I mean which you know, will be designated as the so-called Black people of the United States, the so-called African American, foundational Black American, free man, whatever term you utilize. Um, Obviously, has had a historical alliance that diminished a little bit in the last election with the Democratic Party, but my reality of it is in the world of the political world that we're in, I'm running as a Democrat. I was raised as a Democrat, and I am not necessarily on the good graces of the political machine. Quite frankly, I'm a believer in permanent interest. In politics may not be permanent friends, may not be permanent enemies. And I see people above party and the issues that I'm espousing have been ignored by the establishment on both sides. And again, Ms. Davis, I hold Democrats accountable because, factually, particularly in New Jersey, over 90% of people from the culture or people from the ethnic lineage, in particular, are Democrats, and the Democrats have been in power the majority of my life and of my adulthood. So again, my criticism and my intent to reform largely is targeted, at the Democratic base. Although I meet with Republicans, and again, I'm for the people. I think that what I represent is marginalized, underserved communities because I come from a community that was once a thriving summer home for the rich, called Plainfield, New Jersey, way back in the day. But you know, in an era of our parents, in an era in which I was born, you know, I'm a product of coming up in a crack era, right? You know, my town, which had black business owners, where we own things, has completely changed today. We've had our community decimated by Reagan policies. We've had our community decimated by Clinton policies, continue through Obama policies. And whether it's Trump, Biden, I want to be very, very clear. What's happening in our communities, we have been put as what Dr. Claude Anderson called the permanent underclass status. And I'm from a community in which, although I have graduated Harvard College, worked in investment banking, met with world leaders, heads of state, created federal government, state, local policy, as the great Dr. West would say, we've already been niggerized. We've already been put in a class of people that don't matter and don't count. So when people hear me, particularly on this channel, I am here to let you know that we may have been counted down, we may have been counted out, but we're not forgotten. And I am here to listen to you and to create the reforms and policies within the federal government that nobody, Democrat, Republican, old, young, black, white, brown, has done. They've all had the opportunity, but it hasn't been a priority. And I'm prioritizing you.
Okay. So, okay. I love that the fact that you are representing and you're saying that you are already receiving pushback is what I'm hearing because of being people over policy in the Democratic Party. Is that what you're stating?
I am saying that I was a golden boy within the Democratic Party here. I got scholarships to go to college from major labor unions. I was an activist starting with the NACP when I was 15. I won federal civil rights cases against the machine, mind you, with resistance from Democrat federal judges that told me, bro, I don't think you want to fight $1 trillion company in federal court for discrimination. And respect to them, you know, respect to them whether they were appointed by Obama, Biden, whoever. You know, I still went against the grain. So what I'm telling you, ma'am, is that at the end of the day, when you're advocating in an anti-black environment, and let me just contextualize New Jersey. New Jersey is the worst state for racial disparities and mass incarceration. We are 30 times more likely to be incarcerated, black versus white. Our youth are infinitely more incarcerated, our black youth, than white youth. And in New Jersey, where some would estimate our population around 12, 13%, some would estimate our population with state custody around 60%. So what I'm telling you is we only exist in the establishment when we're willing to accept permanent underclass, when we're willing to be silent and we're willing to say, all right, cool, let me eat and I won't talk about my people. And when I started demanding what they promised every election cycle, but never followed through. And let me give you an example. New Jersey has around $100 billion of public pension assets in our division of investments. What percent of that would you say is estimated to be invested by black managers or into black companies? Take a guess.
0.
Oh,
I mean, I do know that, I mean, literally, I do know with the disparity studies, when you go and look at the disparity studies, when you look at the budgets and how the money has been dispersed, none of it's coming to our community.
None of it.
Very small percentage.
None of it. And the only way, look, let me be real. None of it is going into our businesses. And when I was helping create federal policy to create and again, this is not a term that I use in my day-to-day. The federal government calls it minority, before Trump called it minority business. When I was focused on creating minority business innovation and was successful in creating such initiatives across the state, the disparities were saying that the average black entrepreneur is making around $27,000. The average business in general is making around $500,000, right? We're talking about no participation in the economic affairs. And what this campaign is about is creating access to capital for entrepreneurs, because only we're going to save us. I don't want to traffic some message that the government is coming to save you. I'm going to do my best and I'm going to fight for everybody and I'm going to give it 110%. But at the end of the day, like Dr. Claudia Anderson was talking about, we have to save ourselves. Now, the reality of it is entrepreneurship is the largest driver of change in the community. We hire people that we believe in. We hire each other. We support each other when giving the opportunity. And this campaign is about someone that spent a decade of his life helping create physical and digital infrastructure for capital to go to underserved entrepreneurs, and was misled and undelivered on by state, local, and federal government. And I've been at the forefront of pushing the issue that Black asset managers need money to invest in Black companies. We need money to invest in our companies and our communities. You give money to these big financial institutions who then donate to politicians who do nothing for us. When I tell you that my campaign is shaking it up because I'm a glitch in the matrix, you're not supposed to have a guy who's came up in crack era policies. You're not supposed to have a 6'1" brother with locks, right? That is a Harvard graduate that started his journey in a district in public housing, whose grandparents came up from South Carolina and Virginia during the Great Migration on my dad's side, and on my mama's side from Georgia, right? I am representing a group of people that you built prisons for, right? And let me just tell you about New Jersey, because I don't know you. I know you don't know this, but the main facility where
No,
they
I
house.
lived in New York, but I don't know Jersey.
Let me break down Jersey, right?
Yeah, I lived in New York years ago.
Jersey is the
Okay.
most racist state in the United States when it comes to incarcerating Black people. Why? Because it's the richest and it's the best education, right? So the side of that is there's inclusion when it comes to like who can go to the gala, who can sit next to the governor, at this press conference. And there may be some like charitable aid programs to help marginalized people when convenient. But when we're talking about New Jersey's between Philly and New York City, right? Major metro areas, one of the richest states in America, and hundreds of billions of dollars moving through that. We're not allowed in those conversations. We can get in some certain conversations about small grants or some small minority programs. But if you ask to be treated like an equal and respected as a professional, that's when you have difficulties, when you understand economics. And me as a disciple of powernomics, right? When you grow up reading The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, when you grow up reading Dr. Claude, when you grow up reading They Came Before Columbus, and then you ask for accountability, you quickly realize you have little friends within the machine.
Okay. So right now, a lot of people are looking at the Democratic Party as the party of degenerates. And what I mean by that, I mean literally, they're feminazis is what we call them. We also call them the party of illegals and pedo protection. So, what I love that you have this energy and this passion. And the Democratic Party right now, I think it's going to have some problems with us voting for the Democratic Party, considering that they have literally for the last 60 years received our votes and have been attempting to ethnocide, genocide our people at the same time.
Well,
they wanted a whole new voting base.
I think there's two policies that I intend on changing day one. The first issue is in our culture, what we call the baby mama, baby daddy culture. That is a direct, intentional product of policies that, yes, the Democratic Party had a key hand in creating incentives to take Black fathers out of our homes and destroy our family base, which is the economic base, as the brother Honorable Nuri Muhammad would say, is a manifestation of God is our family unit. So yes, did the Democratic Party create incentives to yield a result in which, by some estimates, 80% of Black babies are operating in single parent homes? Did they create that outcome by policy and lead the charge on that? Absolutely. Is it our time to complain? And look, look, I'm gonna call you, even if you're not a PhD, I'm gonna call you doctor, because I know what you're doing. Got such a level of mastery and specificity that you earned your PhD in terms of understanding the needs of the people in the movement in a time. So, doctor, what I'm saying is, yes, I am running not as an establishment Democrat. I am running against that machine. They already have their coronated people that they want to push. If you notice, they're quick to talk about Trump being a fascist, but they're very quick to say this is who we want to run and destroy any elements of representation. And I see it now here in New Jersey, where the alleged Black church has their people that they've coronated, because why? They get their benefits from the governor. So they don't even want to allow for debate. And me, I'm saying, look, I appreciate endorsements and I appreciate that. At the same time, let's give everybody else the opportunity to say what they need to say before anybody crowns me. And at the same time, before you crown a career politician, let's give us the opportunity to talk about where our party has failed us. Our party has failed our families. The Democrat Party has failed the Black family. No, look, let me stop. The Democrat Party has failed the American family, right? But the Democratic Party has seen its most deleterious impact of policies that may have been well intentioned, but disincentivized a family unit. And to that extent, we can agree somewhat, right? On Democrat created degeneracy. Now, I think your other point was unfettered immigration, if I'm right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
think it's
correct. All of these illegals they brought in and put them in our neighborhoods, and gentrification is happening in our neighborhoods, where again we're losing our wealth, we're losing our land, and it's all orchestrated by the Democratic Party and
I want
those
to be
politicians.
very
We all.
sorry. No, I'm listening to you, and what I'm saying is, I've heard this argument by multi-generational foundational American freedmen. I've heard this argument from first and second generation Latino, Latin, indigenous people. I've heard this argument from white people. The reality of it is I support legal immigration, and I think that we are witnessing what Dr. Claude talked about a long time ago. Is there is and there has been an intentional, deliberate scheme to keep us at the bottom. Now, let me add to that. I'm also a disciple of the Honorable Fred Hampton. I wrote my thesis at Harvard on how and why the government killed the leader of the Illinois Black Panther Party, the Honorable Fred Hampton, because he was uniting Black, white, Puerto Rican, everybody. So I want to be clear, and I want to discern that I don't think our enemy is not the people immigrating to America. The real enemy is the people, right? The few small select that pit us against each other. Because the reality of it is, even in the community that I come from, which was it's a very clear epitome of what was a historically Black community whose demographics had changed. Our reality is had the crack epidemic and the crab in a barrel, plus the mass incarceration policies, had not had the impact on it, plus the dilapidation of the malintended welfare state, which separated our families. Like, that has almost nothing to do with people coming to America just trying to get better opportunity. And I don't want to get lost in like the Black versus brown thing, because that's not what I'm about, right? And I don't even think anybody should be about that. I think we need to talk about the small select group of powerful elites that are making the black versus brown argument seem like it's a fight, as opposed to the haves that don't care versus the have-nots. And I'm not saying everybody that has money is bad. I'm not saying like anyone that has capital or anyone that's rich or whatever is a horrible person. But what I am saying that
no.
Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna push back because
go ahead.
we are the Americans. Yes, I'm gonna push back because we are the Americans, and what we have is not theirs, right? What is ours in this country, after fighting every war, after all the innovations and inventions, after all of what we've given and sacrificed for fighting civil rights, that everybody gets to come here and participate, I'm going to have to draw that boundary and that line in the sand, that what is ours has nothing to do with others.
I agree with you on that. We are owed a debt. We are owed a debt. Bottom line, full stop.
Right. So whether they come here legally or illegally,
we are owed a debt.
But immigration, right. And immigration has always hurt our people and our communities, because there's a fight for resources, which is jobs. Then there's also the fight for us, maintaining certain things that should be ours, right? That others say, oh no, I'm here now, so this is mine too. But the equity of the freedmen in this country and the descendants does not equal those that come here legally or illegally. So I'm focused on, or most of us in the movement now are really focused on us as the Americans that have equity in this country. And we're seeing every time there's immigration, whether it's H1, okay, let me go here, H1B1 or H1Bs, you are seeing them in an industry and they have no innovations, but they've taken over an industry.
Can I give you an example? Let me give you an example, right? So the police told me to say the first thing I need to tell people is that I'm a Harvard grad, so they don't think I'm going to rob them, or they don't think I'm a random criminal when I approach them in certain communities and ask for their vote, right? So let me tell you about my Harvard experience. I was one of 1,600 people in my class. Now, how many, whether you call us FBA or freedmen or whatever, what percent do you think of us represents that class?
Not even 5%.
Queen, less than that. Less than that, right? So what I'm saying to you is,
great point.
I understand more than anybody that at the highest echelons of any elite program or any elite group I belong to, even amongst the melanated people, those like myself whose ancestors are either indigenous or migrated up from the South to the North or stayed in the South, like that population is a very, very small of people thriving in this country, full stop. And we are owed a debt, full stop. Now, I think where we disagree is that that has nothing to do with immigrants. It has nothing to do with nobody else but what we are owed from this government. And I don't even want to conflate anything else from anything else, because I think that's where we lose people. Now, look, I want to be very, 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 very clear. The last interview I did on Inside NJ, I talked about a debt being owed. That language is not popular amongst Black people campaigning for office. It's not popular. It's not popular amongst almost anybody. I see the sister in Pittsburgh, right? I'm not gonna tell you that I know all about her policies, but I see one congresswoman, a young sister in Pittsburgh, that put something out talking explicitly about reparations. And that's something that I'm going to deliver on when I'm elected. And I think, quite frankly, that's why the Democratic Party base does not want to see me break through, because they know I'm going to hold that accountable. I'm not even going to entertain any other conversations, any commingling of debate. The debt is the debt, and the debt has nothing to do with anyone else or any other group. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you on that perspective, that this is Americans' business. Here and you know, people, they're now using the term heritage American. Okay, well, we'll go with this is a heritage Americans, and even still, some of those that may consider themselves heritage American are not the Mayflowers, the Wasps, the descendants of slaveholders that are in office right now. Now, I have heard as well that the term reparations has been sullied, and you know, you're not going to get any support with that. I have a whole nother plan. I have a petition out there. I do believe that at this point in time, that with what all that is happening here in the United States, that this government, this present administration, we should be putting forth, and I say the grassroots at this point in time, because we don't have any political representation right now. We're taxation without representation again, but we are putting forth our own proposal, our own agenda, and that part of that proposal and that agenda is we're delineating. We're delineating. We should not be in the pot as minorities with immigrants, whether they're legal or illegal. We want to reinstate, reconstruct, reestablish our Freedmen Bureau or Bureau of Freedmen Affairs, just like the Native tribes. That goes along with what Dr. Claude Anderson speaks about in Powernomics, right?
I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't think that's, I think, yeah. No, I think, look, I think that makes a lot of sense. The reality of it is, and I appreciate this opportunity to come on here and say, the minute I say, I don't care if we get our debt collected from Trump, Obama, Democrat, Republican, that's a problem, because I'm supposed to say that, I'm supposed to toe the party line and just pretend and not even talk about this, because again, the reality of it is when you start talking about reparations or debt, you can have a task force, you can have a study, you can have a dance, you can get a gala, you can have a march, you can have a protest. But when I start talking about policies, and when I say, look, y'all just overnighted a couple billion for some country that wanted to buy more weapons. Y'all just overnighted a couple billion for any other foreign war around the world, right? But y'all could overnight a couple billion if y'all wanted to, right? The stimmies that came out of nowhere, right? They made sure everybody had that 1,400. When people started getting hungry and the SNAP benefits ran out, they said, all right, we can't play with that SNAP. The reality of it is people do what they're forced to do in the United States. This is a land founded on violence. When I read the statues of the people that settled our home city here, Newark, New Jersey, right? So my like I was saying, my grandparents moved from Georgia to Newark. So I'm running a little bit outside of Newark, but I spent a good deal of pretty much the other half of my life in Newark. But in Newark, there's a statue that says Robert Tree civilized this land and cleansed the land of the savage, and it lists the native tribes. So I'm bringing that up because the reality of this is I don't care about the politics of fake civility. I care about getting the job done. I don't care who we get our debt from, right? I don't care if it's from a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, a purple person, a trans person. Somebody has to pay that debt. And everything else is just noise.
Okay, so I'm glad you're stating that and your position on that. I think a lot of the individuals in the movement, reparationists, as we say, will love that you are standing firmly on that, because as you stated earlier, we don't hear this a great deal, right? And the other part of that is, what are your thoughts on the current administration challenging the interpretation of the 14th Amendment?
I think that it's disgusting to make it seem like white people lost the most over the last 50 years. And I think that I don't even I don't blame Trump, because Trump is doing what he said he was going to do for his base. I think that Obama said and made us feel like we were going to get what Trump is doing for the white supremacists. And the reality of it is if Obama was who we thought he was, like, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, right? So again, like my perspective is, do I like it? Do I think it's good? Of course not. But my reality is what did you expect, right? That's what he said he was about, and that's what he's about. My thing is,
but okay, well let me ask you this, because I look at it and what Trump's doing as helping us. I don't look at it as it's hurting us. And what do I mean by that? Him challenging the interpretation of the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship, that's saying that the illegals that come here and have a baby on the soil, and they're not even citizens, but their child is also all of a sudden a citizen, that math is not mathing. So how can you have a non-citizen have a citizen, and then they're able to have chain migration where the rest of the illegals have a way to come here, migrate here, because they have a child here? That is our birthright. That is our history. It does not apply to illegal immigration. It states born and or naturalized, does it not? That means you have to go through a process to become naturalized. So, people want to use this Kim Von Art case. His parents were legal residents of America when he was born on the soil.
Wow.
Not for a chain migration.
Thank you for that perspective. I've spent a lot of time, been to between 50 and 100 international missions around the world with our global ministry of economic and social development empowerment. And I've been an immigrant in other countries, and I've respected their rules, right? I've spent a lot of time in Asia, spent a lot of time in Europe, and the reality of it is I overstayed my my visa in Dubai like 3 days, and I had to pay a fine, and they made me remember that there are consequences, right? They reminded me that there's consequences when you don't respect the rule of law in a nation that you come to. So again, I support legal immigration. I support people going through the process legally, but I want to say that the reality of it is the current immigration design disincentivizes legal immigration. It's harder to be legal than illegal. If you're illegal, you get expedited benefits, expedited housing, and I think that the scheme that's in place right now needs to be modified and reformed to where we can reward people that follow the process legally, because I can even see that in my personal life how it's a lot easier to be illegal, and I do think that's by design. And I do think that the reality of it is I think the powerful interest on both sides had a hand in playing that and generated that outcome. In terms of birthright citizenship, I have yet to go to a country where I can just have a kid and get and they can get a passport. So I understand what you're saying along those lines. I think that's a uniquely American concept, but my reality is too, I'm in fervent support of people that come from communities that the U.S. government has intentionally disenfranchised and destroyed. I do believe that in the order of operations, after we collect our debt, there needs to be some conversations, because the reality of it is and my wife's helped me understand that, right? Like there's evidence that 100 years ago, a big American company came and killed a bunch of people in Colombia protesting for fair wages. right? And the U.S. government had a hand in killing people around the world, from Congo to Colombia. You know, our government has intentionally destabilized governments, and I don't want to say that we've heard whispers of this happen to the beloved Captain Troy in Burkina Faso, but I'm sure he's not a popular guy in Washington now. So that being said, you know, in the order of operations, you know, Freedman business, right? The debt that I'm concerned primarily with regards to this conversation is for the culture that we share, the lineage that we share. At the same time, like, I don't blame anybody that
Mhm.
wants to immigrate here, especially those that come from communities and countries where every time they stood up for fairness and representation, our government had a hand in ensuring that they're in the space that they're in now. They're in the state of economic malaise now. And I do think that those people need to be heard, and they need solutions from, you know, whatever government intentionally played a hand in disrupting their way of life.
Well, you do know the Afghanis. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you do know the Afghanis did get money from the United States government, right?
I think it
So
was
so we got people coming here. The Afghan, yeah, they got like $400,000. They got settled. You have remember the United States had U.S. aid going all over throughout the world to support all of these countries for over 30 years now. So regardless, they have now. This is where I see the issue is. We hear that quite often, that individuals are like, oh, they destroyed my country, but at the same time, we're giving them US aid. So they're receiving the funds, but their governments are not making sure the people receive the funds. That is not for us to hold. So again, I'm drawing the line in the sand. I'm
No, we
setting
should draw the line.
boundaries.
Look, everybody got a bag from their
Yeah.
debt. They got a they cashed in Israel, they cashed in Japan, they cashed in Afghanistan, Ukraine, and the Pacific Islands, where they dropped bombs and gave people all types of cancer. You know, they've been compensated, and they should be. Everybody that's wronged should be compensated for the wrongs. However, the reality of it is what I'd like to see happen, and this is my request for the delineation movement. Um, I'm grateful for this forum, and I want to be a leader and an active voice in it. However, we need to support our own. The reality of it is, you know, I've seen this in New Jersey. I've seen the Southeast, the Indian community support the Indian community. I'm from New Jersey. I see the Jewish community support the Jewish community. I see the Black community, particularly our Black elite leaders. When I raise my hand, boy, you better wait till boy, you better wait your turn. Boy, you better wait your, boy, you better not be talking all like this good white man giving us this. You better
We
put
know exactly what you're talking about.
your you know what I mean?
Yes,
So at the
we
end of
know
the day,
exactly what
like,
you're talking
I
about.
can't blame nobody. None of these other groups, while I do think the reality of it is a lot of people have been miseducated when they first come to America. They heard Black people is the worst people, right? That's a reality. My other friends from other countries tell me that's the reality. But at the end of the day, I had a good boss on Wall Street tell me something very, very real. Jewish American boss, mentor of mine. He was like, I see all the rich Black guys. How come there would be quicker to give money to one of our charities than to you? Right? Like, I'm telling you the truth. There is so much Black wealth in the United States. If we supported each other, a lot of things would shift. And when it comes to accountability, like,
Well,
I do think we need to hold, like, let's hold our Black billionaire elite class accountable. Man, doctor, I'm telling you, I am an Ivy League, Wall Street educated kid from the bottom who saw his pop get smoked.
mhm.
My dad was FOI. My dad was a Black Christian leader. I walked into a room when I was 5 years old. I seen a man dead with his eyes open in my projects. That's every kid from my generation. We grow up learning our state, learning suburbs and rural areas, because that's where the prisons are, and that's where they keep our brothers, our comrades, our family. I am from the bottom,
Mhm.
right? And I have ascended. And the reality of I see is the Black elite. If we want to point a finger at the Black elite who has traded and kept us docile
Mhm.
while they can again go to
Mhm.
CBC, sip mimosas, pretend, and
Mhm.
deliver no
Mhm.
solutions.
Mhm.
So again, again, this has to
Mhm.
happen in the delineation movement. I'm calling you. I'm calling brother Phil Scott. What's the
We're
second
doing
brother's name?
it.
Him. Y'all are like leaders in this
Which one?
movement.
You
Doctor, the brother in
no,
Houston.
no, 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 no. Let hold on. Let me say something to you.
Yes,
Because how old are you, may I ask? How old are
39,
you, may I ask?
39.
Okay. Let me say something to you. You are the youth compared to me. We are now stating I'm 55, about to be 55. I'm 54,
Happy
about to
birthday,
turn
Queen.
55 later this year. Yes, thank you. But we're saying we're the mothers and fathers of this movement. And we are making sure that you, the youth, get into position, your rightful position. We, yes, must hold these others accountable, and we're going to move them out the way. We do not need any of these others speaking for us. You are what we need speaking for us, not them. You need to be in these positions, not them. They already have done too much damage to even go to the table and try to reason with these beings. We see what they're doing. We are feeling the effects of it. And a lot of them are in the clergy as well.
Well,
What are your thoughts about
I have
that?
to ask you this because I heard that the
Yes.
black church since the 80s, and I think it was in Powernomics, has had over $1 trillion of economic power, right? The black church alone in my lifetime has seen $1 trillion, which would make it one of the wealthiest countries in the world if it were a country. And my question is, I mean, to what respectfully, I grew up in a black church, and I know the role that it's played in
Same.
our community, and I want to be very, very respectful. However, what I see right now is I am seeing in my home state black clergy leaders pimping the gospel. They are pimping
Mhm.
their congregation for clout and the ability to sit next to political leaders. And I can even see it right now. I'm like,
Mhm.
before you anoint a chosen career politician, give us the chance to debate. And that's already not happening here. And if you're gonna be, look, if you're gonna be kingdom, be kingdom. If you want to be, look, I grew up on Wall Street working investment banking. If you want to be savage capitalism, be savage capitalism. I understand that. You want to be business. But don't tell the people and rile them up and give them a holler that we're being kingdom, we're being gospel, we standing on the Lord, and then you're really just trying to get some bread, and you're not even allowing them to hear from people that really are aligned from them. So my challenge to black
Mhm.
clergy leaders nationwide, before you anoint whoever you're going to anoint, give someone else, particularly some youthful energy and alternative voices, the chance to speak to your congregation and the chance to speak to the people. If what Dr. Claude Anderson and others have said is that the black church in my lifetime alone has seen trillions of dollars, at a certain point, and why I'm running is like, yo, I can't really keep blaming other people or complaining or just talking and running my, like, it's time, it's past overdue. I got to do something about this because I can't look at my children and know that I did
But
nothing about this.
you are hitting everything that we stand for, okay, in the movement. And I am going to put you in contact with a brother. He's the father of of the movement. I'm gonna put you in contact with him because he would. I know he would love to be able to talk with you and converse with you a little bit more about this because you can see what we've been saying. My motivation for creating the Freedman channel is to bring people like you onto the channel so our people can see we do have youth out here that are willing and ready to change the trajectory of our future for our future, right? And you need those opportunities. But we see these older elders gatekeeping And then you had Dr. Claude Anderson that was waking it up, and they didn't even want to join him back in the day, right? So
yeah, he never got the respect he
Dr.
deserved.
Claude Anderson.
We stand on
You're
his
right.
shoulders. He never got the respect he deserved. And I studied that brother when he was talking about
and we
working
don't get
in
him
the
that
White House.
respect.
Yeah, no, we respect him
Yeah.
and acknowledge and honor him and know that he's an icon. What he was saying, and we understand, we respect. He was right. And the unfortunate reality of it is I love to see like Black achievement in Hollywood and in sports and whatnot. However, when we look at the economic data and particularly of entrepreneurship, the Black entrepreneur, the Black community is at the bottom. At the same time, there are wealthy people and influential people in our community. And my call to action is support from those particularly that have it, because we have a lot of Black people that have it. And I meet with some of the most influential athletes and people around the world. And I know that at the end of the day, we need them to support us. Every other group has that going. Like it or not, somebody got to show somebody some
right. But we can't. But don't forget, we people power. Right. We got a lot of people power. Right now, you sitting here and running for a congressional seat in New Jersey, you're gonna get more people power. You see where I'm going? That's about the community coming together. That's that support that you're speaking about. And even with that, those top tier from our community, if they don't support, you got the people power that comes through more than them. You see where I'm going?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, doctor.
Don't ever doubt your people power. Okay. So I would love to invite you to another space on X where they hold these conversations. And I'm going to let Dr. Elder know that I'm recommending that you come to their program, and Mr. Battle, that you come to organizer. That's their names. I'm mentioning them, so I'm giving them a shout out right now to let them know.
Shout out to them.
I would love for them to hold a space.
Thank you.
Hold a space with you, because I do believe this is an introduction of you to us. Right? Most of us do not know who Mike Anderson is, and you're introducing yourself to us today, right? And I do believe you're going to gain more people power.
Yes, ma'am.
From the
grassroots. Can I ask you a question? I have to ask you this.
Yes.
I have to ask you this. What do you think about Jasmine
Yes.
Crockett saying Black people shouldn't pay taxes as a form of reparations?
You know, I want to get rid of her. I'm like, that's not a creative idea at all. I mean, you know, I get not paying taxes. However, it's more than that, right? It's a lot more than that.
She's trying to get elected for Senate, so I understand. I understand, like.
But Trump is already no taxes on tips. Trump is already no taxes on your Social Security. Right. So she's not bringing. Trump is about to get rid of income tax. So what does that do? So you know what I mean? It's not a real creative idea as a form of reparations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the minute she mentions that word, everybody's scared to talk about it. Everybody's scared to get into the R word, because again, you know, you do draw a line in the sand. Now, let me ask you this, because you've been educating me. So are you saying that I should not be using the term FBA?
No. I'm saying to you, on a legislative level, freedmen is the term to go. Okay. Any policy we write going forward, freedmen, because then freedmen designates and delineates us as the founding population of Americans.
I like that.
It removes us out of the.
I like that a lot. By the way, I did go to the brother Tariq's conference in Atlanta years ago. I came in draped in an American flag. I want everybody to know, you know, I've been a part of the movement, and I've been riding for it against the odds and against the grain, and I appreciate what you're doing. You changed the world. You changed the world. My boy called me. My friend called me. A great brother of mine, doctor called me he was saying that he heard Tucker Carlson mention the word tether. And I was like, that came from you putting old boy on. And now Tucker talking about tethers. So it's an honor to be on your platform. I know that you're a world shifter, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to discuss it. And I think when we land the plane, I don't want to get into no other conversations. The debt is the debt, and you got to pay the debt. And everything else is a distraction besides the debt. Because what they'll try to do is pit us against them and this against that, and nothing has nothing to do. And I'm not against everybody else getting their debt. It's just the order of operations. We need what we're promised first and foremost. And once we solve what we're promised, look,
well, let me
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm preaching right now.
No, go ahead. Finish. And then I'm going to tell you. No, well, yes, you are. And I'm loving every minute of it. Now, I will say this. When you look at the Constitution, when they say, oh, no, you guys, we're not paying reparations to you guys. Okay, we don't have to use the R word for it, right? We can just say restitution or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, when you look at the Constitution, you have that First Amendment right. Do you not? And a part of that First Amendment right is you have the right to file grievances for redress against your government. And then for us, particularly, you have the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was supposed to make us full, whole citizens. How in the world in this day, and with protections, right? With protections. So how in the world in this day and time in 2026 are we at the bottom as Americans? A founding population of America.
Because we allow that.
Others come.
We allow that.
No. That's the social engineering. But it's the social engineering. Remember, we had see your Democratic Party. I did a little history on your Democratic Party now. A lot of our ancestors that was lynched because they were businessmen providing for their families, building out their communities.
Of course.
You see where I'm going?
We launched our crypto on a 100th anniversary of Black Wall Street in Greenville, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right? I was there on the 100-year anniversary to honor them. My grandma's grandfather fought in a light color battery in 1863. He signed up when he turned 18 to fight in the Civil War. So I understand what you're saying. Like economic commerce meets with violence. We have to defend ourselves. You touched on the first. You didn't get to the second. I was gonna say, like, I'm very, very much in favor of the Second Amendment, which is not a Democrat issue, especially not a issue that they will allow Black people to talk about. And the reality of it is in a system in which you have to be a Democrat, a Republican. I'm running as a Democrat. My reality is I'm for the people. These labels are these labels. The game is the game. I didn't make that up. I'm just born into it. It's just the reality. If it was up to me, we would see each other so beyond this binary two-party plutocracy oligarchy, which is two puppets playing each other and making us seem like they don't get along, but they're eating well and they kept us at the underclass. So I want to be very, very clear again. Like, I am not responsible for everything that party's done in the past. I'm only responsible for advocating the positions that I'm advocating on behalf of the disenfranchised communities and people.
Okay,
I'm not the Democrat Party.
I appreciate that.
I'm not their spokesman. Believe me. You think that allow me to represent what I'm talking about?
You better not label me as that.
It'd be like, hey, Mike, we'll
you.
endorse you. Just cut your hair. Just cut all your hair off. You ever see me with my haircut? Just then you know something happened.
No. Oh, that's a sign. I got you. When you cut that hair, are you saying then you sell it out? You cut that hair?
Nah, man, I'm mad. I'm saying somebody for it. I'm saying by the grace of God, I'm gonna keep it going. You know, if I get too bald or something, but I'm just telling you to say, like I am not, like, they do not want to support my voice, because an intelligent, articulate brother who knows who he is, that's leading his family with integrity, is not what they want. Full stop.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, okay. Well, I was just going to go how we've been disenfranchised. A lot of our people have been disenfranchised from voting. So we got to connect with those that have been disenfranchised. And it's been an ongoing thing for years, right? Since our ancestors were even attempting to be a part of the process. So I'm with you. I'm here to support you, even though we are different parties. It doesn't matter. We're all about policy and been focused on our people, right? With making sure we receive that policy that helps us to continue to live in this capitalistic nation. You can't do politics without economics and economics without politics. It's just how it's set up because it's a capitalistic nation, right? So I'm here with you. I would love, of course, after this interview, I'll send you an email. I'll give you the information, who to contact to hold the space with the other gentlemen. And so you can continue this conversation. And then I definitely want us to continue the conversation afterwards as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a great opportunity to come collect. I see what you're doing. I respect what you're doing. I know you're influential far beyond the thoughts, and I appreciate your support because look, I'm an independent thinker. I'm not enslaved or controlled by the Democratic Party plantation, and I've been actively leading the charge for freedom within it, right? That's just the reality. So what I'm telling you is, although I'm vying in that primary, I would be a fool to expect the leadership to support me because they will never give you straight answers about what we're talking about. They will never, if you ask them about reparations, restitution, whatever, they're gonna say the all lives, the all everybody's life matters, everybody suffer, whatever the party line is. And I'm not here for the party line. I'm here to advance the interest of what I need to advance the interest of and what God has and Most High has me here. So again, thank you for this opportunity and this momentous occasion to represent the voice.
Well, before you go.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, but before you go, tell us your platform. What are you running on? What are some of the issues that you want to tackle or policy that you're pushing forward as a congressional candidate?
Day one, we are creating what the government promised us, a federal digital innovation ecosystem. Think about like when you go on Uber, you're an entrepreneur. Number one problem in our communities, we can't get capital, we can't get contracts. Imagine Uber for access to capital for entrepreneurs. This is what the feds promised us, a couple million, never delivered on it. Day one, I get in Congress, I'm pushing that forward. We need access to capital for our entrepreneurs. Secondarily, I am running on freedom. The Second Amendment is being applied tyrannically here in New Jersey. Gun control and racism go hand in hand. We are disproportionately impacted by gun laws, and I believe in responsible firearm ownership, responsible gun ownership. I'm not saying everybody needs switches and ARs with 1,000 rounds. I'm saying responsible gun ownership is the reason why we got any level of freedom from the gate. I don't think from the history of my family and my grandma's grandpa fighting in the Civil War, no one gave us freedom. We picked up the rifle and fought for freedom.
We fought up for our own.
It's just the reality. No one woke up and said, this is sad. We woke up and said, death or freedom, whatever comes first. And my platform is that the gun laws here in New Jersey, like in some states like California, New York, absurdly discriminatory and challenging, and we need to shift them forward. They don't even make sense. Family justice. There's a deliberate, intentional incentivization of destroying our families. The judge gets paid, the lawyers get paid, the sheriffs get paid, and in some cases, one parent to get paid, but the child loses. We need to decentralize the family justice complex, and we need to incentivize keeping families together. There's financial rewards for our young sisters to say, F my baby daddy, you can't see your kids. And that's not a Black issue, it's an American issue, but it's disproportionately in our communities. We need to create more civilian reviews in our justice system, expedited jury pools. When I sued the Amazon company and beat them after they racially profiled me, and I sued them in federal court, it took me 3.5 years. Why did it take me 3.5 years to get a trial? Because they're $1 trillion company. So how many people can fight $1 million legal battle against $1 trillion company over 3.5 years and stay in it? Not many. That's on purpose. We're going to fast track your ability to get justice and create more consumer protections and actual civil rights. Lastly, well, definitely not lastly, but that debt. We are going to pay that debt. That debt is important. We're owing our debts. We're going to pay our debts. If we owe you, you're going to get what you're owed. We are going to bring it. I am running for Congress to bring reparations to the freedmen. Whether they support it or not, whether they characterize me, that's their business. My business is campaigning and winning and delivering results to the aggrieved people that are owed. So I'm going to help entrepreneurs. I'm going to restore the American family. I'm going to help our communities get the debt that we're owed and create dignity. When we see ourselves and we look at the mirror, we're not just going to see this permanent underclass. We're not going to see what we're told. We're going to see who we are in the truest, most godly, divine sense. And we're going to see and believe. We've been taught that America is this exceptional nation, but we've been denied from the exceptional aspects of what makes it so great. And we're going to shift that. My platform and my policy is not about me. I'm pro-family, pro-investment, creating a domestic sovereign wealth fund. And again, they're going to try to bury me. When I talk about this, the Democrats are going to try to bury me because this is an issue that President Trump's talked about. And while I disagree with the president on almost everything with regards to race, we do agree that there needs to be domestic investment. What makes Saudi Arabia so well known right now with their public investment fund, or Singapore with Temasek, or the UAE with Mubadala, or Norway, these sovereign wealth funds which invest in their entrepreneurs and create flourishing ecosystems. We need to do the same thing, not just giving money to hedge funds that barely return. We have trillions of dollars, $5 trillion public institutional capital, $80 trillion in institutional capital, which is managed. 99% of that is managed by white men-led institutions. And I love my white brothers, but everybody can grow more. We can create a quadrillion-dollar macroeconomic impact. According to the CIA World Factbook, we live in a $20 trillion economy. It's a $20 trillion, $25 trillion economy, in which 99% of 80 trillion is invested in 1%. More money for everybody is what I'm campaigning on. More young people are going to be able to buy houses. In our mom's generation, they could buy a house a lot easier than now. We're going to change when you apply for apartments. Credit and affordable housing. Get rid of the credit requirement and increase the limits on affordable housing and fast track. Affordable housing almost doesn't exist. You're going to be on a list there for 5 years waiting for it. Affordable housing is going to help us. Mental health in our communities. I'm been on the front lines of helping schools get meditation and mindfulness in New York City, in New Jersey, and helping teach tens of thousands of people, because that's important to me. I'm a firm believer in meditation and mindfulness. Even Jesus went up to the mountain to meditate at 3 a.m. So why shouldn't we have that in our schools? I'm also bringing in, if you go to Dubai, UAE right now, their national sport is jiu-jitsu. As much as I believe in responsible gun ownership, at a certain level, our communities got to shift from we shooting each other at every occurrence to let's create opportunities for us as men, us as masculine people, us as women as well. But I'm talking especially to the young men. We need to create more opportunities. Like I think what President Trump is doing and bringing the UFC to the White House on July 4th. I said, look, let me fight any congressman talking an anti-black message. Like, I think that's good. I think we need to get back to away from like just Twitter talking and Twitter beefing to let's create forums from which we can see each other, hang out, collaborate, maybe have like a boxing match. You know what I mean? Like some political leaders go fight for what you believe in a contained, respectful form. And I volunteered to be on the front lines to do that. Let's make that happen. So my platform,
I've suggested.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm talking right now.
I'll just say I've suggested. I've suggested we have boxing matches. We raise money and you're opposing and you got all this energy.
President Trump,
back and forth
whoever
over
is
the
against,
internet.
whoever talking bad about Juneteenth and MLK Day, and I mean congressmen like the Ivy League, all them that just talking, sign me up. I want to see them. Put me in a ring with these cats. Let's go. We'll donate all of the money to our constituents in our district. We need to bring back manhood because the Democratic Party has made it bad to be a man. And I'm not saying the Republicans have delivered for young men, but young men have been disaffected with the Democratic Party because of a lot of what they've talked about is an alienated message. So I'm a believer. Look, we're gonna guarantee your health care. We're gonna guarantee that your food stamps, and which obviously is a lot in our communities, but other groups get it the most. But I think we need to increase that for our community, especially. We need to increase that accessibility because the reality of it is we are owed a debt, and that debt has to get paid. I've got to run. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about a message that is not popular within the Democratic establishment.
Let the people know how to connect with you.
Mike.
Yes, let the people know how to connect with you.
Mike, FORNJ.com. You can see what we're about. You can donate to us on ActBlow. You can ActBlow, you can request an appearance. Mike, FOR, the word for it, NJ.com. We appreciate your support. As much as we're people powered, we need money. We are fighting the machine. We are our people. We are America first. We love all countries. We respect all countries. We know we live in a global environment. But before we send your money to help some other country buy weapons or give them a bunch of SSI and benefits, we're investing in our communities. We're investing in our people. Thank you so much, Dr. Davis, for the opportunity to be on your platform. I'm gonna go spend time with my family now, and let's follow up and let's actually push the agenda forward, independent of any parties or anything else. The debt is the debt. Thank you for allowing me to represent.
I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you so much.
And I'll make sure we have you on another platform on X.
I look forward to it. Let's turn it up. Let's shock the world, baby. Let's shock the world, baby. Let's turn it up. Thank you.
Tell your wife I said hello, okay? All right, you all. That was Mike Anderson. He is running for office in New Jersey. He's Democratic Congressional candidate. And you know what? We're going to bring him into elder, organizer, and Mr. Battle, Kevin Battle. I'm shouting you out. There's a candidate you all need to feature on your platform on Sundays. So with that, you all, I'm signing off. Love, peace, happiness, and reparations.